Written by author William Golding, Lord of the Flies is one of the most acclaimed pieces of literature of all time. The plot concerns a group of young boys stranded on an island after a plane crash and the fight for survival this spawns. The book's themes investigate human nature versus nurture, a hypothesis of the breakdown of social order and the emergence of a natural hierarchy, particularly within males. It's a fantastic book. It was made into an alright film and is a perfect analogy of the instinct to survive and the effects that come from it. Obviously, you couldn't actually recreate Lord of the Flies for real, you know, the whole plane crash and killing people thing. But in 2002 and 2003, Channel 4 aired two consecutive documentary specials which gave a group of children a similar type of freedom, both individually called Boys Alone and Girls Alone. Both specials follow virtually the same format. 10 boys and 10 girls aged between 11 and 12 are left for 5 days at a fancy estate. They are given supplies, toys and other necessities and are expected to lead a life themselves with no supervision. The only adults present are a skeleton camera crew and they have been barred from interfering with any behaviour unless deemed necessary, like a nature documentarian. And importantly, a button is present which can be pressed at any time, where the boys can either speak to the production team, nurse, their parents or a psychiatrist. With a fully stocked house, the children immediately run riot. Sticky popcorn is thrown on the floor, water guns are fired at each other, and the kids begin writing on the walls and painting in ugly colours.
We were trying to explore everything at once, weren't we?
Yeah, no.
And got too carried away in ourselves.
By the night, after the boys had calmed down, they elected a leader by a vote, the majority leading to a boy called George. Some boys sleep upstairs, some downstairs, and some outside.
Everyone had completed a cooking course before the week began, though at this stage, you wouldn't know it.
Collectively, the boys have a loose definition of breakfast, and while they create more mess, they have no idea how to clean it. Sim begins to feel homesick, and despite this, he chooses to stay. He later tries to sleep in the tent, but is disturbed by the others.
Do you absolutely have to?
Yeah. Right. Well, sort of. It's sort of part of the national curriculum.
I'm so sorry.
By the third day, there was still no proper organisation.
Do you think Sim should do the cleaning now or tonight?
Now.
Now.
I think you should just, because I finished with drying up now with you.
Because I know that Sim's going to be too tired to do it in the evening.
Yeah, but I'm too tired. I've got a headache.
While the rest of the boys all fill up the paddling pool and have fun, Sim is assigned the task of washing up. This could potentially be because Sim is the most timid and keeps to himself. The narrator points out that this was also the closest in 3 days the boys had come to washing or even changing clothes. And by the time they made their first ever group meal, the fire alarm goes off. Even when they have to argue around seating positions, the boys have finally been able to find some remnants of routine. It seems like most of the boys knew what freedoms they had and were willing to push the limits further just to see if someone would intervene. They're beginning to forget about the outside world, but they know that people from the outside world are watching them. Two factions started to form within the house, the louder and the quieter, and most importantly, Michael became universally disliked. In fact, the boys all called a meeting with this child psychiatrist to blame every issue and breakage on him, and when the psychiatrist suggests they all need to work together as a group, this falls apart as quickly as you'd imagine.
Look him out! Shut the door so he can't get out.
Also, Michael gets tied up outside. It starts to morph from not liking someone to targeted abuse. It's evident there's real hate towards him. Disorganization. Anarchy. By day 4, the house was a remnant of the clean state it was once in, purely affected by the lack of threat and the eliminated idea of repercussions. And because of this, they attempt to hunt and kill a hedgehog.
Can't hear that stupid.
At this point, the film crew decided to intervene.
And by the night, a turf war begins between rooms, as the quieter boys struggle to get to sleep the night before, and in the morning after they throw different stuff at each other.
So I'm painting my t-shirt. Well done. I can't stand this house now. Ring the bell.
And if you thought the place couldn't get dirty enough, on the final day the louder boys go all out and completely wreck what's left. Toilet paper, styrofoam, more drawing, throwing fruit at the house.
Roll the
Apple. It's Saturday morning, and it's time for the kids to leave. What's distinctive here is that the kids are met with hugs and even applause, despite the parents being given a live feed of what happened in the house the whole time. No kids, no parents should be proud about what happened. They of course react with disgust, but let's be real, are they going to be punished? But despite all of that, they did it again. A year later, the house was repaired, repainted, restocked, and this time 10 girls were sent in. At this point, the two documentaries focused less on the study of human nature, but more the study of gender roles. Will they revert back to more traditional ideologies like cooking and cleaning, or will they behave identically to the boys? Being kids, the girls start to cause a mess as they adjust to their newfound freedom, and they start to paint, which is much more artistic than just blatant graffiti. However, after a few hours, one of the girls, Sherry, starts preparing a meal. Along with this, she takes a mini leadership role, limiting snacks for others and even starting to clean, which another girl, Sade, feels resentment towards.
She's acting like Mum, she keeps telling us. Can we have a pat?
Where? She goes, well, if they don't like it, that's tough. And then she goes, you're not having any crisps or fruit winders until after dinner. So I just took a packet of crisps. Exactly, so that's why I took a packet of crisps and a packet of fruit winders.
It's also significant that by the evening, the girls have already started to clean the mess they made from earlier by trying to wipe the walls and clear the floor. The boys had attempted before, but didn't make much progress. And two girls start to organise a fashion show.
Suddenly, a cat appears. It's crawled under the garden fence.
She refuses to let it go due to her protective and pure nature, completely oblivious to the fact it's absolutely petrified. This sparks the first sort of tension within the group, which after an almost identical water fight to the boys breaks out.
What's her name? Sherry's upset. Why? Probably because I accidentally knocked her in the eye. What's up?
What's up? What's wrong? Oh, is it because your pyjamas are wet? What happened anyway?
They got upset because your duvet's wet.
You and your mum and dad, do you want a hula hoop? Stop being gay! Get lost, you bunch of games!
But any rivalry currently going on instantly has a moment of clarity when this happens.
Hey, it's like pink. That's pain.
The next day is much calmer. They organise breakfast and then Kaylee attempts payback for the night before, but another girl, Charlie, tries her best to resolve the situation and stop anything breaking out again. The group reconvene and organise a cleaning and cooking rota to bring some order into the house. It doesn't last long.
You're going home now? Yeah. Come back on Saturday to see you all. And then you're going home now? You're going! Yeah. You can't go! We love you! You help us cook the food as well. Yeah. Please don't go.
While some girls effectively mourn Sherry's departure, Sade has locked herself in the bathroom.
What does it say? I am not eating.
Right, if you need to live.
What the hell is that accent mean? When you don't eat and you think you're fat.
Oh, come on.
After her consistent contentious attitude, it's unknown whether this is her true feelings or just attention seeking.
What is the matter? Are you suicidal?
Eventually, Sade comes out of the bathroom and the remaining group reconcile, move back into the same room, and tell stories amongst each other. At this point, if you haven't subscribed yet, you should do that. Press that button down there to not only subscribe, but also start nuclear war. Justine makes a cake, which looks nice, but they don't have a knife, so they use a pasta server instead because they haven't done any washing up. Something consistent about the latter part of the documentary is how Sade repeatedly upsets others through how she communicates to them, but she also resorts to being upset when something minor doesn't go her way. It's an early sign of ego.
Seriously, you made Gabby upset. You made me cry today. And you look about proud of it.
Later in the day, Nikki starts to pack.
Where do you want to go? Last night I didn't even get 5 hours of sleep. Just gone out and look. I thought that it would be fun and this turned out to be a nightmare.
And after she leaves, Jess breaks down in tears.
What's wrong? Nikki's going home. Nikki? Why? She said she hasn't had any sleep. There's been arguments practically every day. She's going home.
Was she your best friend?
Nikki's departure has changed something. A lot of the girls have a change of heart and start constructing cards and gifts for their families for when they eventually leave. 2 final events, an amateur talent contest and a school roleplay, still can't mend what's been broken. Organisation is weak, emotions are high. A world with rules and regimes are now destined for instead of being forgotten about. It's telling of gender roles, how the girls have been able to build yet break relationships, fight but also forgive one another. They're quick to help, clean and organise the day, yet betray one another whenever they feel like it and feel depressed at someone's departure. Yet looking back, I think the protocol about only intervening only if necessary is a bit too overkill. Let's be frank, 11-year-olds breaking down in tears at the experience should be met with much more care. This is not David Attenborough, this is John Sim. Wow. Let me put this plainly. No kid should have to go through emotional distress to make a TV social experiment. It's okay to push the boundaries of right and wrong when it comes to media. That's what my whole channel's about. Lord of the Flies' realism stems from how human nature hasn't changed across the board, and you don't need a TV show to prove that. It's evident anywhere. When the kids come out, parents react in virtually the same way as the boys, with pride, love, and affection. And that concludes the saga of Boys Alone and Girls Alone.
How protective do we really need to be of our children? And just how dependent are they on us? What would happen if children were actually left to live alone together?
Special thanks to Mr. Ratrox and Max G.